In this video, I'm going to review how to create virtual Windows desktop machines in the cloud. First, I'm going to go over quickly why that's useful, why you would want to do that. So, first of all, for Amazon businesses in general, it is the safest way to operate, especially if you have more than one Amazon business. You don't want Amazon to identify that both of them are coming from the same location, even if you have permission from Amazon, or you're an employee for two different companies. It's still safer to have them separate from separate computers, separate locations, to avoid any issues. And also, if you travel a lot, so it's better to always log in through a virtual machine. That way it always shows that you're in the same location, versus if you usually log in from the United States and then you are located now in a different country and you try to log in. A lot of times different systems will flag you for suspicious fraud, and you'll have to re-verify emails and stuff like that. It's also very useful if you have virtual assistants. Instead of letting them log into your account through their computer and their machine, which you have no control over, you can create a virtual machine for them and allow them to use that exclusively when they work on your business. And that virtual machine you have full control over, so you can make sure it is it's updated and safe. And if they stop working for you at any point, you can shut the access for them, and then it's just a much safer and easier way to handle it. It's a lot better than using a VPN, because you're using separated. It's as if you're using separate computers for each account, or for each setup that you're using. Versus a VPN, it's all on your same machine, and sometimes it could still be traced back even though the IP is different. In this case, virtual desktop machines, each machine is viewed as its own desktop machine, and you can get its own IP address that's static and belongs to that machine forever. It's very easy to set it up. It can be set up in about 5 minutes, and it costs the cost starts at about $10 a month, depending on what type of machine you want, how powerful you want it to be, how much storage you want it to have, and it goes up from there. The nice thing is that you can choose to start with a low-cost machine that has less power, less RAM, less storage, and pay by the hour, only for the hours you use it. And then as you go and as you start using it, the more you use it, you can upgrade at any time. You can add more storage, more RAM, more powerful CPU with the click of a button within a few minutes. And there's no maintenance needed, and nothing like that. So the platform that I use is called PaperSpace, and the product is called PaperSpace Core. So you sign up to their website, and then you get to this screen where you can choose machines. So you choose new machine, and then you choose where you want it to be located. So generally you would want it to be located near where you are physically in general, just because it would probably be a little bit quicker when you access it. So I'm located in New York, so I would choose New York. You could choose they have in West Coast, California, or in Europe, Amsterdam. So we're going to choose East Coast. And then the easiest setup, quickest setup, if you're not tech savvy and you don't want to mess with anything, is the Windows template, Windows 10. This includes the Windows 10 license. Everything's already pre-set up. And then you can choose if you want by the hour or monthly. So monthly gives you unlimited usage, however you want, as long as you want. And that starts at $22 a month plus $5, so that's $27. However, if you just want to test it out, you can start with the hourly, and this bills you 7 cents an hour. This is the current price, only for when the machine is on. So whenever you're done using it, you can turn it off. You won't get billed. Plus $5 a month for the storage, and then I'm going to show you later how to get the IP address if you want a static IP address. So that will be the IP address that will always be tied to this machine. It's useful for using for making logging into that machine a lot smoother, and we'll see that later. So if you want that, it's about another $3 a month. So all in, this machine, you know, if you use it a couple hours a month, it would be about $10. If you use it maybe 20-30 hours a month. If you use it more, it'll be a little more, but the beauty of it is that you only pay for what you use, and you could always switch it later to a monthly charge or back to an hourly charge, and so on. So we're going to choose the cheapest machine right now. This is still, it will still work. It has 4 gig RAM, 50 gig hard drive, and we might want to upgrade the hard drive to have more memory, but we could start with this and then see if it works well and then go from there. So here we're going to name the machine, so we're going to call this virtual machine 1, and then default networks, this we're not going to touch. Now there's a few options you could set over here. So auto shutdown, if you want to make sure that if you forget to turn it off, it turns off the machine on its own so you don't get billed. You could have it auto shut down, you know, if you don't use it for an hour. This is not guaranteed that it will auto shut down. It's better if you remember to shut it down. And keep in mind also that, you know, the computer could be in the middle of doing something and it will still shut down. So it's usually better to turn this off and remember on your own to shut it down whenever you are done, but you can leave it on if you want. I'm going to turn it off. Auto snapshot, this backs up your entire machine in case there's any issues, and I believe there's a charge for this. Maybe it's a couple dollars a month too. So it's generally between $1 to $2 a month for the snapshots, and that depends on how much storage you're using and how big is your hard drive. So, you know, you could do a snapshot once a month, or you could turn this off. Public IP, this is beneficial to have. We could add it on later. We don't have to add it on right now. But this will enable us to log into the machine through the regular Windows Remote Desktop application, which every computer has, which is the smoothest way and quickest way to use these virtual machines. But we'll review that later once the machine is created. And then we have here, so we have the total of the machine that we just created, and then we're gonna click create. Now once we click this create, it will show up right here under your machines, and you can see it says provisioning, so it's creating it for you. This usually takes a couple of minutes, and then when it's done, the machine will be available and we'll be able to log into it. Now when it's ready, you will see it says ready, and then you can click launch, and it will you will see basically the new desktop in your browser, and this is it. So now you're in. This is a fully functioning desktop computer in your browser. Now the first thing you want to do is just install all the updates. So Windows updates their software every few weeks. Now this will install with the latest version, but the updates that came out since then will not be installed, so you want to click check for updates and then install those updates. So as you can see here, there are a bunch of updates. We could actually do this as the next step, and before that we could set up the login for us to use it going forward. So when you create this, it is created with the username called, I believe it's called PaperSpace, which is the name of the platform. Now you don't want to use this username for your day-to-day work on this machine, because this username is managed by the provider, the virtual desktop provider, and the password is very long and you don't want to change it, and it could just mess things up. So the best thing to do is to create a new user and then use that user for your day-to-day usage of this machine. So that should be the first thing you do when you set it up, is create a new user, new password, and then we use that user to log in with the Windows Remote Desktop. So we're going to call this user virtual1, and then password. So I entered in the password here, and just do this. Alright, so you see the password, that doesn't meet password complexity. So they enforce a security policy that your password has to be complex enough so that people can't guess it easily. So that's my fault. Let's try to make this a little bit more complex. No. Alright, so this worked. So now we have this user, and then we want to make sure that this user is an administrator. Alright, so now this user virtual1 is a full-fledged user for this computer. Now the last step is to log into this user, and I'm going to show you how to log in with the Windows Remote Desktop, which is the preferred way to log in, mainly because using this machine through the browser is a bit complicated to copy and paste stuff from it to your machine, and it's not so smooth. So using the Windows Remote Desktop is preferred method, and in order to do that you need to assign an IP address to this machine. So now I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to go back to machines, and then this is the machine we just set up. We're going to click on settings, and then over here you're going to see public IP not available, so we're going to click assign public IP. It's $3 per month, but this makes the work a lot easier and the whole process a lot more simple. So we're going to do assign IP, and now we got an IP address. So now that we have the IP address, we could use this for remote desktop login. The last step that we need to do is just enable that user that we created to use Windows Remote Desktop. So by default, a user or computer cannot log in with Windows Remote Desktop, so we just have to enable that. So we're going to type in your remote, and then remote desktop settings. And then on this page, we're going to do select users that can remotely access this PC. And then here, we're going to do add, and we're going to type in the username. So this is the username, check name, and then OK. OK. And that's it. Now, we could exit this, and let's go back to see the IP address. Alright, so we have here the IP address. So now I'm going to show you how to log in with the Windows Remote Desktop app. So we're going to type in your remote desktop, and then you're going to click here, remote desktop connection. And then here, we're going to copy the IP address into here. And then the username is going to go here. So username virtual1. And then check allow me to save credentials, and then click connect. Now here we're going to put in the password that we set up. And then don't ask me again for connections to this computer. Click yes. And now we are going to log in through the Windows Remote Desktop connection to our new user. So the first time it's going to show this, please wait for the user profile services. This takes about a minute. This happens only the first time you log into a new user, and then going forward it will just log straight right away. Right, so as you can see, we're logged in now. Now the last step would be to save the password into the remote desktop on your desktop, so you have a shortcut so you don't have to type in the password every time. So we're going to do that. So we're going to close the remote desktop and open it again so we get to this screen, and then we're going to do here show option, and then do save as, and then you can name this the computer that you the name of the computer, the name of the user. And now if you go to your desktop, you will see here you have this shortcut, and then anytime you want to log into your virtual machine, all you got to do is click this. This we're going to set, once we select this, it's not going to show up again, this message, and that's it. And then you hit connect, and then you are connected into your machine, and you could see the desktop regular. Now you can see Chrome is already installed. So the last steps would be to install the updates like we said before. So that's easy like you do in a regular computer. Check for updates, and then you let it install all the updates. And then the final step of securing the machine, you want to install antivirus just like you should have on your regular machine, on your regular desktop. But there's one final step, because this is a public IP address. So what that means is that this IP address is accessible to anyone online, they could try to connect to it. Now, obviously, just having the IP address won't allow them to connect to your virtual machine. They need to know your username and password for Windows, just like you typed it in the remote desktop over here, right? So you have your password over here. So the same way you typed it in, they will need to do that as well. But there are softwares and bots and programs that will start hitting your IP address every second with different username and password combinations. And even if they don't succeed eventually, it will slow down your machine. So to avoid that from happening, you want to set up the rules on your virtual machine to accept connections only from your IP address or any IP address they usually log in to the machine from. So if you're the one logging into it, then you could easily find your IP address and then add that as a rule to the machine to only accept incoming connections from your IP address. If it's your VA, then just ask them what their IP address is and then add it. Now to find your IP address, all you got to do is type it in Google, what's my IP address, and then Google will tell you, or you could click on the first two results. Usually they will tell you your exact IP address. Now once you have that information, you go to Firewall, Windows Defender Firewall, and then Advanced Settings, and then you go to Inbound Rules, and then we'll scroll down. We want to find the inbound rules for the Windows Remote Desktop, so that should be Remote Desktop, and then you want user mode TCP in, and then you go to Scope, and then over here Remote IP Addresses, you select these IP addresses, and then you can add only the IP addresses that you want. Only accept connections from the specific IP address you put in. You could also set a range, so that's if you have multiple IP addresses within the same office or the same area, sometimes they'll all start with the same number, so you could do that. Once you do that, you click OK, and then apply OK, and then that will prevent any person connected from any other IP address to try and log into your machine. So that's just the basic security for the virtual machine, so you don't run into issues. And then once the updates are all updated, you just want to restart the machine, and then once that's done, you could go to the Google Chrome, log in with your account, and you have a regular browser here, and you could use this as you use your regular machine. Now you can see here this machine, we set it up originally, so it's very relatively low power, so it's only 4 gig RAM, and it only has 50 gig of memory, so you only have 22 left after the operating system and all that. So if you want to upgrade it, I'll show you in a second how to add more, how to upgrade it at any time, and so you could do that as you need. If you don't need it, you could keep it this way. So in order to upgrade it, first you have to shut down the machine. So you're going to want to click shut down to make sure it's off, and then once it's off, you can click here on upgrade and upgrade either the strength of the machine, so the CPU, add memory, or add storage, and we'll wait for it to shut down. So now that it's shut down, you can click upgrade, and then you could change it to monthly. You could change it to a stronger machine, so this one, for example, will be 8 gig RAM and 4 CPUs, or you could do stronger machines, and you can change the storage. So say we want to change the storage to 100 gig, so we can click submit, and then this takes about under 5 minutes, and then once it's done, you just click open and you turn it back on, and then your machine now has 100 gig of memory. So it's relatively straightforward and very simple to manage, And that's pretty much it. Because this is so easy relatively, versus getting multiple computers in your office, or letting people use their personal computers to log in to your businesses, or if you have multiple businesses, managing them all on the same machine and the same connection and the same network, especially if they're multiple Amazon businesses. So I would highly recommend to use a solution like this that provides virtual desktop machines, very easy to create, very cheap relatively to maintain, and it allows you to keep all your accounts separate, and nothing mixes up, and you don't have to use a VPN or anything like that. And overall, it's a great solution. So that's the tutorial for this. And as usual, let me know if you have any questions. And that's it for this video.